Welcome to Kyle's Conspiracy Corner, where we uncover the craziest theories that will make you question everything and nothing at the same time. Ever heard of Violet Jessop, the lady who survived the sinking of not one, not two, but 3 doomed ships? Was she just really good at swimming, or was she a Nazi terrorist? Then there's the mysterious death of Anne Heche. Was it just a tragic accident, or did she know too much about Hollywood's darkest secrets?
Jeffrey Epstein is accused of running an underage sex trafficking ring.
And remember Robert Durst? The real estate mogul with a knack for disappearing acts and suspicious coincidences. What if I told you, on top of everything else, he may also be the elusive I-70 killer?
Kill them all, of course.
The truth is out there, and we're gonna find it. Maybe. So strap on your tinfoil hats. It's time for Death in Entertainment.
Live from Los Angeles.
911, what is your emergency?
Here in Hollywood now.
2 counts of murder.
Injury and death.
Oh my God!
Shocking new details.
That has stunned the entertainment world.
This makes me a little nervous.
The hair stood up on my arms.
Just like in the movies.
What do you call this thing anyway?
Death in Entertainment.
Greetings, Deado Universe.
Hello.
How the heck are you?
I'm great.
Good.
Or you're asking them?
I'm asking everybody.
All right.
You know, you matter too, Alejandro.
Thank you.
What's going on, everybody? My name's Kyle Plouffe.
And I'm Alejandro Dowling.
And today we are doing the first ever. There's been many conspiracies that I've brought onto this show, but this is the first solo episode of Kyle's Conspiracy Corner.
Things are about to get nutty.
I love this AI-generated image that we have created here.
If you can't see it, Kyle looks like a QAnon wacko.
Yes, absolute insane person.
And in the background is his office with skulls and books and ramblings on scraps of paper.
There's a couple fedoras in there. I don't know about that, but either a pickup artist or a Freddy Krueger aficionado, which that's what I'll go for, okay?
And then, of course, complete with the desk lamp from 1950.
Yes, exactly. Every conspiracy room needs one. There's not enough red yarn on the walls for my liking, but you know what? We'll take it.
We'll add to it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a growing idea we got here. So everybody buckle up, and before you buckle in, you got to judge whether or not you even want to get in this car, because we are a true crime comedy podcast.
Yeah, we have disturbing stories with jokes.
A little bit on the lighter side.
And if that disturbs you, then I think you ought to leave.
Why don't you book a train and go to the other side of the country, okay?
We won't miss you, but we wish you well.
Yes, we wish you well, and we wish ourselves into this episode.
Let's go.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so like the Talk Me to Death episode where we had multiple stories going on, that's what's happening here today. If
Talk to death.
Yes, Talk to Death. We covered multiple stories.
Yes, we covered Jenny Jones and the other one.
Yeah.
Christina's Court.
Christina's Court, of course. And that's what we're doing with this episode. There's going to be 3 stories we're talking about. So, you know, the first one, like I said, light aperitif, and let's drink it.
Okay, I'm drinking.
Glop, 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 glop.
And I got my tinfoil Packers hat ready to go.
So Alejandro's pretty much as good as the audience right now. This is Kyle's Conspiracy Corner. There are some conspiracies that I'm creating today and ones that have existed in the ether for a little while. So we are going to have, you know, quite the lineup here.
Kyle's opinion does not represent mine.
Oh, we're doing a little disclaimer here. You want to separate yourself from these conspiracies.
You just said it yourself. I'm sitting here as the listener.
Yeah, but you might be on board with what I have to say. So let's get into the first one. This is the story of the unsinkable woman.
Molly Brown.
No.
Kathy Bates from the movie.
Oh, is it called The Unsinkable Woman?
Well, it's called The Unsinkable Molly Brown. There was a play about her. Oh. She was a real lady from the Titanic who survived. That's why they called her unsinkable. But I don't
This is the woman.
Molly Brown?
No, this is Violet Jessop.
Yeah, I was just going to say...
Molly Brown might be a fictionalized version, no?
No.
Oh.
But she didn't really have any other run-ins, so...
This one has multiple run-ins.
Okay.
So Violet Jessop, she's an Argentinian woman with also some Irish in her. Irish-Argentinian. Her name's Violet Constance Jessup, and she was born in Argentina.
That's not really an Argentinian name.
No. What would be?
Violeta Jessop.
Jessup. She was born on October 2nd, 1887, 99 years before us, Alejandro. Can you believe it?
Wow.
Wow is right. She was the oldest daughter of the family, first of 9, and only 6 survived.
See, I can never... Wait, what was that?
Yeah, this is back in a time. We're very fortunate to live in a day and age where the mothers and children survived childbirth, but that wasn't always the case. They had 33% of their kids die very early on.
That is so sad.
They were the strong children. The 6 out of 9 survived, and she was the oldest one.
And there were a lot more diseases back then.
Yeah, it was
like
just
cholera and polio. Basically, it was like the Oregon Trail in your family.
Absolutely. Dysentery. There's a lot going on. People shitting their eyes out till they die.
Oh, man.
Lucky for us, we have running water and,
electricity.
Yeah, shelter.
And so do you if you're listening or watching this.
Mm-hmm. So this woman survived a lot. I mean, she had 3 of her siblings dead.
Wow.
Before she even knew it. She was also sick as a kid. She got tuberculosis, and the doctors said, sorry, you're going to lose another one. She survived.
Not to be too grim here, but as the parents, if they've already buried 6, were they just like, okay.
Yeah, whatever. There were probably a lot of people who were more blasé about it, like losing kids, just like, all right, we still got 4 more.
How you doing, Lenny? We lost another one this morning, but
yeah, they fell off.
Here's hoping for the next one.
Yeah. When she was 16 years old, her dad died after having surgery, and her family moved to England. South America to the United Kingdom, baby. So she was caring for her sisters while her mother went to sea as a stewardess, which I thought a stewardess, I mean, it makes more sense that they're called stewardess on a boat because it's the steward. I don't know. I think that's a part of a boat, right? And then they would call them stewardesses in the air, which doesn't really make much sense.
Steward is a person who looks after the passengers on a ship.
Right.
It's not a part of the boat. It's a person.
Oh, it's starboard, I was thinking. Listen, don't listen to these conspiracies.
So far, that theory within the theory
is gone.
Yeah, that's kind of watery there.
Oh! Let's get back to sea. They're saying that she was very attractive and actually had to make herself uglier to be hired to follow in her mother's footsteps to also be a stewardess.
That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Don't they want stewardesses to look nice and be pretty?
She was too hot. Too hot for sea! So by the time she could drink, her first stewardess position was with Royal Main Line aboard the Orinoco.
That name didn't really catch.
No. This is where shit gets crazy. I don't know if you remember the RMS Olympic.
You know, I don't.
Well, in 1911, she began working for the RMS Olympic. It was a luxury ship that was the largest at the time. So it was the Titanic before the Titanic.
Yeah, shortly before.
Yeah. September 20th, 1911, Olympic left Southampton and collided with the British warship HMS Hawke.
Wow.
No fatalities, despite some damage. The ship barely made it back. It was like about to sink. They bring it back, tie it up. It's saved, but it was destroyed.
So that's a miracle that nobody was hurt.
Yes. So they patch it up. She keeps working on the Olympic until 1912, when she was transferred to the sister ship, the Titanic.
Ooh.
RMS Titanic. She was working as a stewardess again, and 4 days after her birthday, April 14th, 1912, they struck an iceberg
You don't say.
Hey, sorry if you didn't see the movie.
I read the book.
It took 2 hours and 40 minutes to sink. Luckily, she was able to get off. They say that she helped some people get into boats. Very nice of her, because women and children usually go first. So to stick around and throw some people on boats, very nice, very nice.
Yeah, that was her training as a nurse.
Yes. It's said that she was aboard lifeboat 16. And as the boat was going down, someone that was working on the Titanic just gave her a baby.
For what?
Just take the baby. Hot potato.
Are you hungry?
In case you need a snack. Here's my baby.
We're not in the Hillary Clinton section yet. Too early for that.
Yeah. So to quote Seinfeld, yada, yada, yada. They get picked up, brought to New York City on April 18th. That's crazy that they spent 4 days at sea just like freaking out and watched a bunch of people die. That's,
Is that how long the rescue took?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, they got there. The Carpathia picked them up. I don't know what day they did. Let's see. Oh, no, they picked them up on the night of the 15th. Jesus.
Wow. So they were out there those days.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
Yep. Shout out to the fucking survivors of the Titanic. That's terrifying.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Although I sort of can, because I saw the movie 3 times.
Whoa. Couldn't get enough of those titties.
Not to brag. There's a theory about that as well.
What's that?
That at the end of Titanic, Kate Winslet could have saved Leo.
Oh, absolutely she could have.
She could have invited him on her hoverboard wood craft.
Yeah, they did it on Mythbusters. They could have both been on there.
So she was a killer.
She's a murderer. Why are we celebrating this woman? When she was getting off the boat, some lady just grabbed the baby out of her hands and ran away crying. So she doesn't even know if that was the mom or not.
To be fair, though, as long as she looks after the baby,
Yeah.
a parent is a parent at that point.
Yeah. So she survives, makes it through. The creepy thing is like, then you have to get on a boat back to England. Mm-hmm. So that's what she does. Goes back home. And then during the First World War, she was a stewardess for the Red Cross.
I bet that was pleasant.
Yeah. And on November 21st, 1916, she was aboard the HMHS Britannic, which is the younger sister ship of the Olympic and Titanic.
The Britannic?
Yes.
That's a knockoff?
Yeah. Pretty much it was just a floating hospital.
It's like the generic brand of aspirin.
Yeah. Titanic, take Britannic.
And she gets on. She figures, I already went through 2 sinkings. What are the odds I'll go through a 3rd?
Yeah, during a war. Yeah, what are the odds? I should be fine. Me and boats go together like
Insert joke here.
dynamite in a match. So she's out there in the Aegean Sea just chilling, on the floating hospital, taking care of people, serving her country.
Yes, a hero.
An absolute hero. And as she's doing that, they run into a naval mine set there by the pesky Nazis.
Oof.
And the Britannic sank within 55 minutes, less than an hour, ladies and gentlemen, killing 30 of the 1,066 people on board.
Wow. This was World War I?
World War I.
There were Nazis then?
Well, it was German.
Future Nazis.
Yeah, future Nazis from the future. Das Future. Instead of Das Fuhrer, you get it? Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's very
That's cute.
clever.
That's cute. She was almost killed by the propellers that were still going on the ship. And the propellers were actually just cutting through lifeboats that people were getting on and destroying people.
Oh, my God.
She had to jump out of the lifeboat and had a traumatic brain injury. So she was drooling while she was writing her memoirs, I guess.
Okay.
So she survived a ton of amazing
Yes.
things. She's,
Unsinkable.
unsinkable woman. She's a feminist icon. Now, what would you say if I told you I think she was in on all of them?
Wait a minute. That
She's
she
an
was,
Argentinian woman.
Yeah, that she was a passenger on all of them. That's what you're saying.
An Argentinian woman that may have had access to Germans that were there before the First World War.
Oh.
It's a Nazi haven after World War II.
In Argentina.
Yes.
The Nazis all fled to Argentina.
Yeah,
Why? Maybe they were already scoping it out. Maybe they were already there.
Oh,
Maybe
I see.
they send an unsuspecting woman onto each boat to fuck them all up.
Wow.
I didn't say it was going to be a strong theory, but it's my theory.
So she's an assassin of sorts.
She's an assassin. So she's like a feminist icon that she's like gone on these boats and helped save a bunch of people. I think she could still be a feminist icon, but in the opposite way, where she's trying to kill everybody for her country, which is her allegiance, which is really Germany.
How did Germany benefit from the Titanic going down?
That was the eye of America. It was the pearl of the country.
If that's true,
It was a show off of our high class, upper echelon, our bankers, everybody. It was called the unsinkable ship, and if you could take it down, you could fucking take America down.
if that's the case, then that is one of the biggest terrorist attacks
Yes,
that we've seen.
absolutely.
Wow.
She was flirting with the captain and blowing him while knowing there was an iceberg out there.
And she gave that baby away on purpose
She sold the baby.
for cash
Cash money. Rockefeller Records.
because they saw her wearing a mink coat at Ellis Island afterwards.
I don't think there's a coincidence that she's from Argentina. That's where all the Nazis went. And then every boat she ever went on got blown up. There's something, man.
And how did she live out the rest of her life?
She lived out the rest of her life. She went on 2 cruises around the world that did not sink, which is very nice of her to let them live.
Yeah.
This is actually hilarious to me. So when she was 36, she ended up getting married, and she got married to another guy who was a steward on like the same cruise line.
Kind of late for that time.
36 years old. Yeah, you were practically dead by then. And she's like, I guess I'll get married.
She's like the old lady from Titanic.
Yeah, at 36.
Because I was going to say earlier when you said that she had 8 other siblings, I think that might have even been a small number for a family at that.
Yeah, it was conservative. So she gets married to this guy at 36 years old. Within 1 year, she gets divorced. So she would risk life and limb to continuously go on ships that go down. And then she gets married, and less than a year later, she's like, I can't take this shit.
Wait a minute. So you're saying that that's further proof that she caused those disasters? Because
not necessarily.
if she can survive all that, why couldn't she survive a marriage?
Right. I think it's hilarious that she thinks a marriage is more traumatic and she needs out than getting on another boat.
Not necessarily. Not according to your theory. I just made it for you.
What's that?
The fact that she couldn't survive a marriage, but she could survive all those other horrific events.
Right.
Well, she survived those other horrific events because she caused them.
Yes.
She was in on it. So then when left to her own devices dealing with this marriage, with this nudnik, she got a divorce because she couldn't handle it because that was one thing out of her control.
Oh, boom! Goes the Titanic. Oh, so you're in now.
Yeah, I think so. And where does Molly Brown fit into all this?
She's the unsinkable ripoff.
Well, they didn't make a musical about Violet.
She's been in a character in multiple plays and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, she has?
Yeah.
Not as famous, though, as Molly Brown.
She's a character in the 1958 film A Night to Remember. She was in the 79 television movie SOS Titanic, the 2000 television movie Britannic, Shadow Divers.
Britannica. I keep thinking of the encyclopedia.
Yeah.
Britannica. That would have been a better name. Britannica.
Well, the encyclopedia.
Yeah, but the ship, the Britannic or Britannica, which one would you get on?
The Britannica.
Yeah.
Sounds smart.
More epic.
It's made out of fucking pages.
So my question is, why did James Cameron not put Violet into the 1997 Titanic?
I believe
Did he know more than everyone else
there's a fictionalized character of her, I believe.
in that movie?
Yeah.
Oh, so she did make the cut.
But it's not really her. It's like a quick thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just someone tossing a baby overboard in the background.
And she catches it and then throws it to somebody else.
No, she's tossing the baby.
Yeah. Yeah, so, you might have something there. I thought it was funny that she couldn't handle marriage, but you're saying that she controlled these events and then couldn't control the marriage.
Exactly.
And if she's a German asset or an asset of any, power, as it were, it would be very difficult to maintain a marriage like Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Sounds like she was a pain in the asset.
Hey!
To a lot of people.
How? Starboard. Gone. Yeah, I think it would be very difficult if you were a spy and an actual acting terrorist to maintain a marriage.
Yeah.
For more than a year. Happy anniversary. I'm out.
Honey, you're late again. There's blood all over her hands.
Yeah. She gets on the horse and buggy to go to the cruise with a metric ton of dynamite.
Her suitcase weighs 200 pounds.
Excuse me, this is just over the 50 pounds we allow.
And it smells like napalm.
Yeah.
She's like, it's just my makeup.
Yeah. Why is it sparking? She ended up living her entire life and died of congestive heart failure in 1971. So she made it all the way to the 70s from the 1800s. Wow. She died at 83. Which is crazy because, stress does a number of things to the body. But if she had to do with all of these tragedies, then she wouldn't have been stressed.
Because she
was in control of them.
Right. So she was able to live out her life.
Very happily. Do we know if this is true? Absolutely not.
Well, that was quite a conspiracy to start off.
It is a theory, and I think Alejandro helped cement it down.
Inadvertently, I didn't think I was going there, and then some things started to make a little more sense.
Hey, I'll take it.
I'm going to sleep on it.
All right. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. Send us an email. We're probably just out of our minds. All right. On to the next one.
Ooh.
Do y'all remember Anne Heche?
Do we remember? We did an episode on her.
We did, and it's very controversial out there. People get upset with us.
Why?
Because people really are digging this theory that she was killed. She did not drive her car into that house. The car was driven remotely with her in it to take her out.
To remind everybody, in August of 2022, Anne Heche went on some weird joyride, and she was possibly drunk. There was a TMZ photo that showed vodka in her front seat.
While she's driving the car.
And she's just crashing into garages. She almost hits a pedestrian. Then she crashes into somebody's house in Playa Vista.
Yeah.
It's on fire, and she's in there for 45 minutes. Then they pull her out. We actually have a video of that sequence of events.
Yes.
The first stop she made that day, however, was at a wig shop. And the video starts off with an interview with the man who sold her a wig.
Yes.
Richard Glass owned Glass Hair Design in Venice Beach, and less than an hour before Anne crashed her car into a nearby house, she popped into his shop to buy a wig.
We discovered that it was Anne Heche, and from there she asked if she could purchase a red wig that was up top, and I said sure. And as I bring it down, I tell her that it's not cut or styled. She said she didn't care. She wanted it anyway. So from there, I bring it down, I tell her it's a little bit dusty. She says, no worry, just sell me some shampoo and conditioner.
And this is her hitting a storage garage.
Yeah, so this is after she gets the wig. And she's driving about town. She's driving pretty erratically. She ends up hitting another car. The people pull over. They want to get her information, and she's not having it.
I'm out of this.
And she just books it. And then
almost hits a person walking on the sidewalk through that alley.
It's really shocking. Yeah. And she's driving an electric blue Mini Cooper.
Yes.
Take a look. Sky 5 captured the moment the 53-year-old actress was taken away in an ambulance. She was taken to a local hospital. She suffered significant injuries and some serious burns, according to the fire department. The LAPD saying that Heche appeared to be under the influence and was...
So what we're seeing here, if you're not watching the video with us, She is on a gurney, and they're putting her into the ambulance, and they have her covered up with a white sheet. And as they're putting her into the ambulance, she wakes up and starts trying to get the blanket off of her. And people think that is a piece of evidence that they were trying to kill her because they had her. They think it's a body bag. It's not a body bag. It's a blanket. But they're saying it goes against protocol. They had her covered up like she was dead because they wanted her dead anyway.
And she rises like a zombie.
Yes. And then they put her back down.
Acting erratically. According to witnesses, she may have also been speeding. They saw her in a blue Mini Cooper. They say she first crashed into an apartment building near here.
Yeah. Pretty much the conspiracy theory is that people think that the government wanted her dead because she was getting too close to Jeffrey Epstein. And she was working on a documentary with Chester Bennington from Linkin Park, Anthony Bourdain from many things.
No Reservations.
Yes. Helena Hutchins, who was killed during the Rust shoot by Alec Baldwin.
My wife is from Spain.
My wife is from Spain. They're saying that all these people were working on a documentary together about child trafficking, which implicated Jeffrey Epstein. And the government doesn't want people to see that because there's a lot of government officials tied up with good old Jeffrey.
They weren't working on their own separate documentaries. They were all working on the same project?
On the same one,
okay.
Yeah. It was a star-studded event that nobody's ever found any footage of.
Not to debunk the theory so early.
Yeah.
But why would they kill Paul Walker in 2013 and then wait so long to kill Anne Heche?
It's been a long time coming. Well, that's where the theory starts falling apart because nobody can tell you what the footage of where the footage of this documentary is, who they interviewed, who they worked with, who was financing it, nothing. There's zero evidence that they were working on a documentary together.
And Epstein was dead by the time Anne Heche was killed.
Exactly. What is true is that Anne Heche was actually, the last movie she shot that came out on Lifetime was about her child who was kidnapped and sex trafficked.
The girl in room 13.
Yes, that much is true.
And that was scheduled to premiere the October after she died, like a month or two later.
Right. So I think people are getting that confused with another theory that Paul Walker and Chester Bennington and Anthony Bourdain all worked on something together.
I wonder why Chester Bennington is thrown into this. Even Paul Walker. Anthony Bourdain, you could sort of make the case.
He was sexually abused as a child.
Who?
Chester Bennington.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think they're throwing him in, and he committed suicide.
He did.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are just throwing his name in there because of his life story.
Ah, okay. Because Anthony Bourdain was very vocal about Me Too.
Yeah.
He was dating Ashia Argento,
who is guilty of molesting children.
She's a predator.
Yeah.
And Anthony Bourdain was just caught in the middle of all of it, and then he killed himself.
Yeah. When you point a finger at someone, you got 3 pointing right back at you. Or 4. No, 3.
You can count.
However, the me good at maths.
So I think because of his Me Too connection is why he's thrown into this.
Ah, okay.
And Paul Walker, I'm not sure because Paul Walker was dating a minor at one point.
Mm-hmm.
So he was not necessarily a heroic figure.
The cleanest of history.
Yeah, so I find it hard to believe that he would be working on a documentary that exposed
him.
Yeah, exposed him.
Yeah, I think the other two with Bourdain and Chester, they both died by suicide. So,
and Helena was just a convenient throw-in to make it sexy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
this person too.
Right. She was the cinematographer or something for this documentary.
Which there's no record of. And a documentary would have been finished with it well within 10 years.
But here's where there are some questions. Her behavior that day. It doesn't make sense, her behavior, even if she was drunk.
Well, people say that she may have been using cocaine as well. The craziest part is that we have learned since we did our episode that her toxicology came back clean. So she wasn't drunk, she wasn't high.
There's further evidence that makes it weird.
Yeah, so there is weird stuff, wild stuff going on here the last day.
It did seem like she did cocaine if you watched her video podcast, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Because she was constantly rambling and sniffling like, oh my God, I love that. Okay, so I was walking down Ventura the other day.
Yeah. Anne Heche from Entertainment Weekly. Anne Heche autopsy reveals no evidence of impairment by illegal substances at the time of fatal crash. The coroner's final exam report corroborates an initial finding that the actress died from smoke inhalation and thermal injuries. So she had bad burns and was breathing in smoke and all sorts of chemicals because she was inside the house with her car on fire for about 45 minutes.
Mhm.
So the fact that she wasn't dead on arrival when they finally got in there is incredible, to be honest.
It really is when you see the smoke coming from the house.
Yeah.
And we heard the crash in that video.
Yeah.
There was that street cam, or what do you call it? The
ring camera.
Ring camera video of her just shooting down that street, and you hear the crash at the end. How do you survive that? And how did no one else get injured?
The woman who was in the house was so lucky. Her and all of her pets were on the other side of the house, just happened to be. And she just went straight through that one side. She went through a bunch of bushes in the front yard, through the front of the house, through the rooms, and then came to a stop at the back of the house with like a little bit going through the back of the like last wall.
Wow.
And you start thinking, you know, that one theory where they're saying everybody was involved with the Jeffrey Epstein thing, probably not true. But people also say that since it was an electric car that she was driving, that they are easily hackable and can be driven by the world's elite.
So Paul Walker was probably thrown into this because of the car connection. That might have been remote control too, even though wasn't that just a racing car?
Yeah, Porsche.
Wasn't electric.
Vroom, vroom. Yeah, no, it wasn't electric. No, yeah, anything but.
If you've seen Batman Returns with Michael Keaton, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Danny DeVito,
yeah,
you'll remember a scene where the Penguin puts a remote control on the Batmobile.
That's right.
And then he plays the Batmobile like it's a video game and controls wherever it goes. And Batman almost perishes.
Yeah.
And almost kills a pedestrian granny before pulling off the remote control device.
Ooh.
That's exactly the scenario they're saying happened to Anne Heche.
Yeah.
And that instead of the Penguin, it's the Pentagon.
Hey! It is so crazy.
And people just reported a lot of the stuff as facts, like about the conspiracy. Like someone just put on Twitter, Helena Hutchins' next project was a documentary about Hollywood pedophile rings. That's not a fact.
No, not a fact
But
at all.
people just write that all over Twitter, Reddit, Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
And then it spreads.
It sure does. And people get the strongest opinions on the flimsiest shit.
Yeah, exactly. The one thing, again, that I'll say is that there is something odd about the way she died.
Very.
So I don't know how. I really don't know how to think about it.
And there's so many murky details. Like they said that she originally was found with fentanyl in her bloodstream, but it was later realized that the hospital gave her fentanyl for her injuries. And there was no alcohol whatsoever detected in her urine or blood.
Yet there was a bottle in that photo.
Yeah.
A photo was snapped of her that morning, which some people theorize was photoshopped. That the bottle really wasn't there.
Yeah.
It doesn't look photoshopped to me, but what do I know?
No, it didn't to me.
And she definitely loved to drink, if you've seen the podcast.
Yeah.
It was called Better Together. And her friend who wore a cowboy hat, they would just drink and talk about bettering your life and spirituality all while getting skunked.
Yeah. Yeah, so people like to say, as we have in this thumbnail, that there are no coincidences. But that doesn't mean that there's also any connections whatsoever. And also there can be coincidences.
Yes.
Everybody dies. Some people in tragic ways, and you can't just put them all together in one little basket and say they were trying to take down the government, man.
It is odd, though, to go buy a wig and then to crash into garages and go driving like a maniac into the streets of LA.
Not stop when people are screaming at you to stop.
Yeah, like you're on a mission. It looked like she was on a mission. And then to crash and be in there at the wreckage for 45 minutes. Why didn't they go in sooner?
The 911 calls, remember? The one guy's like, I can see fire in there. I'm not going in there. It's like, you coward. Just go get her while she's fucking, still somewhat savable.
So it's like the Parkland shooting.
Yeah.
Where the cops are like, someone else can go in there and save them.
It's scary in there. I'm scared. I'm a cop with guns. I'm scared.
This ain't what I signed up for.
A child has a gun. I'm scared. Yeah, no. I mean, I think things could have worked out differently if people had the balls to actually go in there and get her.
Because one thing that sucks is if Anne Heche survived, wouldn't it be interesting to ask her what was up that day?
That would be at the top of my list to find out.
Do you think it was ordered not to go in? Like they were ordered to stay put?
Well, that's part of some of the theories that, they wanted to make sure she was dead before they went in there.
So Epstein's people possibly are still...
They might have been the neighbors.
Oh.
Let's see where they go on their summer vacations. Do they go to an island?
So where do you stand on this one?
Well, I went heavily down the rabbit hole to find out if it's possible to hack an electric car. Because they said if the car has a computer, it can be hacked, which all electric cars have a computer. And every car now has GPS. I originally was against the idea that an electric car could be hacked. But now they're creating cars where if you do not pay your car payment, it will drive itself to the repossession center.
Really?
They don't need repo men anymore. It will turn on and drive itself. There are self-driving cars now. And they said that these cars could be turned on and hacked to like change the volume controls or like the radio station, but you can't make it go faster or slower. But now we're finding out, yeah, you can. And they're doing it legally. There are driverless cars on Uber now in certain states.
And they only kill half the customers.
Yeah. I don't know if I would get in one.
I wouldn't.
It freaks me out. I've had a bunch of friends in Arizona that like film themselves in it being like, this is crazy. This is awesome.
No way.
And they just sit in the back. I'm like, that is nuts.
I'm not doing it.
Another reason I kind of think that there's some credence to it is because, on this podcast here, we're not the biggest fans of the Clintons and their nefarious past.
Speak for yourself.
And I will.
This is Kyle's conspiracy corner after all.
The murders that have happened, connected to them.
It's a matter of record.
So I thought it was a matter of record. President Clinton killed a guy. There was a man named Michael Hastings, an investigative journalist, and he uncovered some things that the government really didn't want him to uncover. He started getting threats, different things were happening, and he had told people if he died, he did not do it. There's a major theory out there that his car was hacked because he was driving down the street, which normally, apparently he was a very safe driver. All of a sudden, he's driving as fast as can be in Los Angeles down a street that ends in a wall. So he drives right into this wall. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
There are so many conspiracy theories that are saying his car was actually hacked and the government was responsible for it. This I could actually believe because he was an investigative journalist.
Yeah, very famous. I remember from the time his death was a big deal. I didn't know you were going to talk about him, but just hearing the name, it brings me back.
Yeah.
Because I always read Rolling Stone, and he was a big contributor for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he talked about like the Iraq War, and he didn't have any political party.
Right.
So he would go after Obama and Bush.
Yeah, nobody's off limits, which is a big no-no.
Wow, his last story was why Democrats love to spy on Americans in BuzzFeed.
Yep.
Shit.
So that I can see.
Where they just wanted him to shut up.
Yeah, they wanted him gone.
The higher-ups.
They hacked his car. He was telling people, if I end up dead, it was not me.
And he really said that?
Yes. Wow. Right before he died, he sent an email to his close friends saying he's going to be off the radar for a little bit if anyone's trying to get in touch with him. He's speaking to the FBI and working on a big story, so he had to go off the radar for a little bit.
Yeah.
He told everybody that the FBI, if the FBI comes to interview them, then they should have legal counsel ready to go. And the subject of the email was FBI investigation, RE:NSA. So he's going after the biggest security agency in the world.
And not hiding out like Edward Snowden.
No, not at all. So he was driving 4:30 in the morning. He was 33 years old. He was flying down the street in a 2013 Mercedes. and slammed into a tree in Hancock Park and immediately burst into flames. And people say that Mercedes are not known, and newer cars are not known for bursting into flames like that. They've seen plenty of cars even hit walls, get destroyed, and they will not burst into flames like his happened to.
And that's like the movies where you see cars crash and then they blow up, but that doesn't happen in real life.
Mm-hmm.
They don't usually blow up like that.
Right. So
this isn't Lethal Weapon 3 over here.
Yeah. So they're saying that his car was hacked and it was clipped with explosive device for when it actually hit something to make it go boom. Yeah, this was on Highland Avenue. So he was just flying. He's lucky he didn't hit anybody else because that's a very busy street.
Yeah, the same way Anne Heche didn't kill anybody else.
Yeah. And then the FBI came out and said, at no time was journalist Michael Hastings ever under investigation by the FBI. But that also doesn't answer the question. He doesn't have to be under investigation. He could be aiding in an investigation. So weird shit like that where they say something without really squashing it. And the fact that he was doing all these stories exposing things that, you know, obviously the government wouldn't want exposed seems to me like it could be possible. So if it weren't for Anne Heche just being an actress that wasn't involved in anything, I could easily see how that conspiracy theory could be true.
Yeah.
But what do the folks at home think? Was Anne Heche killed by the government for getting too close to Jeffrey Epstein, who was already dead? Let us know.
And you talk about the Clinton body count. Another one is Vince Foster.
Yeah.
He died by suicide, but a lot of people think that he was whacked.
Mm-hmm. Mostly Norm Macdonald.
Yeah, Norm Macdonald appeared on The View in the early 2000s, and he said he was excited to get Bush in the White House.
Yeah.
Because Clinton murdered a guy.
See, I think we should get the homicide out of the White House and get like a fresh start, because we don't want any more murderers.
I think we should just go on to the next question.
You know what else has a major body count?
What?
This last story.
Ooh.
So I'm not even going to tell you what this is. I'm going to let the story speak for itself, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Picture this. We're going to 1971.
I'm there.
Okay.
I'm wearing bell bottoms. I'm listening to Creedence Clearwater Revival.
You got a perm and you're ready to rock, baby. So there's this woman, Lynn Schultz. Lynn was a very smart 18-year-old young lady who was already well into her first semester of classes at Middlebury College in Vermont. She was originally from Simsbury, Connecticut, which seems like a very hoity-toity town in Hartford County.
So the opposite of where Aaron Hernandez was from.
Yes. Not too far, but very different.
Is this where The Sims came from?
It could be. It's actually where a dozen professional figure skaters come from.
Really? They breed them there.
Shizuka Arakawa was a Japanese figure skater, won the gold medal in 2006 at the Winter Olympics, and trained at the International Skating Center of Connecticut, located where? Simsbury. Would you remember Oksana Bayul?
Absolutely. She was a superstar.
1994 champion at the Olympics, trained in Simsbury. Sasha Cohen, not to be confused with Sacha Baron Cohen.
Okay, I was going to say, I don't remember Borat in ice skates.
Silver medalist in 2006 at the Olympics, 2006 U.S. national champion figure skater.
But I will say Borat on ice does sound like a good idea.
That'd be incredible. Very nice.
Very ice.
My eyes. Tommy Cross, pro hockey player for the Boston Bruins.
Trained there.
Yes.
But don't cross him.
Don't cross check. Michelle Kwan, also trained there. A lot of people. And this might actually blow your mind.
Never mind.
Now you have to say it.
Quan I say something?
Yeah, nice.
I think a lot of people trained there. It's no coincidence that a lot of great skaters came from there.
Right.
Okay, I'm done.
A lot of dancing on ice.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Kyle's dismissing it.
No, I'm saying that doesn't happen in like...
Go do your little dancing on the cold stuff.
Yeah. That happens in places where they can afford ice skating rinks and sparkly clothes.
All right.
Okay. And also, after all these people who are, professionals on the ice, Would you believe me if I told you that this actress started her journey as an actor at her private prep school in their performance art program? Miss Sigourney Weaver.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Gorillas in the Mist.
You know, so...
sad ending.
Yeah.
The Poachers, you know.
Right.
Future episode, maybe.
So Lynn grows up in this town where there's more private schools than public schools, pretty much. More private high schools than public high schools. There's only one public high school. Multiple private ones.
Yeah.
Which makes sense that Sigourney Weaver went there. I didn't realize that she was the daughter of an actress and a television executive. So Lynn leaves the hoity-toity town of Simsbury, Connecticut, and goes all the way up to Middlebury to, see the foliage. On December 10th, 1971, she needs some things from the local convenience store. So she goes into town, buys a few things, and then exits this little shop.
Through the gift shop.
Exits through the gift shop. She leaves this store called All Good Things.
Shut up.
Where a very nice older gentleman named Robert Durst sold her groceries.
Are you joking?
She goes to the bus stop across the street, and that is the last time anyone saw her alive.
I just got the chills.
Would you believe me if I told you that there are at least 10 more bodies that Robert Durst killed?
That's shocking only because he seemed to be very bad at it.
And he seemed to be only killing people he knew.
Bad at it in the sense of covering his tracks.
Yes.
But you're right. Also that it was people he knew where he benefited in their absence.
Yes. Every single time he benefited from them no longer breathing.
Yeah.
It's very fucked up. But it makes sense if there are other people because he might have just had it in him to want to kill. And the other people that he did kill were knowledgeable about other killings he has committed.
And he may have enjoyed it, yeah, because he certainly enjoyed getting away with the murders we know he committed.
Yeah. After killing his wife, Susan Berman knew about it.
Yeah.
And the fact that she told him that the FBI was coming back and asking her questions, or the NYPD was coming back and asking questions, was going to be a problem because she knew the truth. And he was scared that she was going to tell.
Yeah, because the wife went missing in the early 80s, and then around the year 2000, the case was being reopened again.
Yeah.
And that's when Susan Berman was letting him know.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that's when he promptly got rid of her.
Mm-hmm. And so it would make sense that he has a type, too. So anyone can kill their wife and their friends. They're connected to them. Crimes of passion happen. But you got this 18-year-old who just goes to his store, and that's literally the last time anyone saw her was after she left his store. Nobody else there's no witness trail after that. Some witnesses said they saw her waiting for the bus, and then they went on with their day, and nobody after that saw her got on a bus or anything.
And the store was not in a mall.
No.
It was in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly. For possibly a reason.
Yeah.
Kristen Modafferi. She disappeared June 23rd, 1997. She's also 18 years old. And in the early summer of 1997, she just goes missing. Nobody knows what happened.
And the other one was in the 70s?
Yeah.
So he was doing this the whole time.
Mm-hmm. This actually ended up being a huge story. So for Robert Durst, he was probably smitten with himself. It got so big that President Bill Clinton signed Kristen's Law so that it could provide assistance to police departments and families of missing people over the age of 17. So they would budget for $1 million for missing persons cases for people who were over the age of 17.
And it went unsolved.
Until 2003, there's an investigative journalist, Matt Birkbeck. He did some really good work. And through his credit card records, he found that Robert Durst was in the area that this girl went missing at the same time.
And what area was that?
The Bay Area. Because he would just go out to California, visit Susan Berman, hang out for a while, drive around. He was a vagabond for a long time.
A rich vagabond.
Yeah.
Could just do whatever he wanted.
Exactly. He doesn't have a ton of money at this point because he hasn't been bought out yet, but he's got enough.
He's off the trust fund.
Yeah. And
he sucks on it like a teat.
Exactly.
But he doesn't get all the milk at once.
Yeah, he's living off daddy's teat.
By the way, the movie All Good Things has a couple theories I wanted to run by real quick. It'll literally take seconds.
Yeah.
the dad was aware of the murder of his first wife and helped him cover it up.
Yep.
And Morris Black, the landlord he cut up into pieces, was the one who actually killed Susan Berman on his behalf.
Yes.
What do you think of those theories?
I think it's quite possible the dad knew about it and might have wanted to cover it up to save his legacy and his name.
His ass.
His ace. It's possible. I don't know if I believe it, but it's certainly within the confines of a story piece. Makes sense that it would add another layer of, oh shit, this guy has to save his own ass and his son at the same time.
Yeah.
Begrudgingly, because he hates his son.
Yeah.
The fact that Morris Black may have killed Susan Berman, that'd be interesting, but I don't think so.
Hired by Robert Durst, of course.
But he didn't get paid for it. And that brings in the argument why he ended up killing Morris Black, because Morris Black came in with a gun and threatened him, and he said, no, you die today. And blows his head off, cuts him up into pieces, throws the head away because the bullet is in the back of his head. Possible but unlikely.
Okay, just throwing that out there.
In my opinion.
So back to Kristen.
1997. She goes missing in the Bay Area out of nowhere.
Robert Durst is hanging around there.
Yep, which we find out because of this legend, author and investigative journalist Matt Birkbeck.
So glad nothing happened to him.
Yeah, he is lucky.
Good thing he didn't have an electric car.
But he's doing good stuff.
They all were. Michael Hastings was too.
Well, yeah, but he's not messing with the government as far as we know.
He's not sniffing around Epstein's Island.
He was working with the FBI and National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So he was on the, helpful side.
Well, yeah.
He's exposing monsters not in the government.
Gotcha. Okay. Less powerful monsters.
But to pin Robert Durst at the scene or in the town where he has no business belonging in 2003, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
He first reported it in 2003 and then published it in his 2015 book, A Deadly Secret. He has a credit card that places Durst in the area on November 25th, 1997, the day that Kristen vanished. And so, like we said, he's dressing as a woman living in the same boarding house as Morris Black.
Yeah.
At this time, he's just fully lost his mind. He's living as a woman again in the Bay Area and would live in a homeless shelter.
No shit. I didn't know that he returned to living as a woman after being acquitted of the Morris Black murder.
This is 97. This is first.
Oh, sorry.
So he's living as a woman before the Morris Black stuff.
Right.
He's pretending to be homeless, and he's living at this homeless shelter. And
that is so creepy. I didn't know he lived at a homeless shelter.
Kristen volunteered at a homeless shelter that Robert Durst was living in.
Dude, that is so unsettling.
And later, dressed in women's clothing, he visited a store in Eureka owned by Mitchell's aunt to throw it in her face. Here I am. So the reason he knew the store was there is because he went there and Mitchell was last seen walking from the shoe store that she worked at with her aunt to her car, and on the way speaking to a man through sketches looks exactly like Robert Durst.
Wow.
So by 1997, you have Lynn Schultz, his first wife, Kathy, and you have Kristen here, all by 1997.
Yeah, he has a type.
Yeah, and they're both 18 years old, and he met his wife when she was, 17, 16? He's into younger chicks.
And was he flirting with them? Do we know what he was up to before he killed them?
No. So those are two that are very opportunistic, and they fit the same profile. Young girls who are going to college that were walking from a store that he knew that they were at, which also is crazy because there is a series of murders and a serial killer called the I-70 killer that I believe we will figure out is Robert Durst.
So you're saying that he's possibly another well-known killer?
Yes.
He just went from being kind of a pathetic, weird killer to now he's like a mega serial killer.
Yes. Okay, so this is from Today.com, NBC's Today. What do we see here? It's reported in 1992, Robert Durst's younger brother Douglas is chosen to head the Durst organization. That's what he wanted more than anything. Even though he did not want to do this line of work, He wanted the clout that came with being chosen by daddy and all the money that comes with it too. Today writes, after being passed over in favor of his younger brother Douglas to head the Durst organization in 92, Robert Durst became estranged from his family. He chose to live a vagabond lifestyle, drifting around the United States, supporting himself on his family's wealth. Now, if we look here at I-70, starts just south of New York, goes all the way to Utah, makes it very easily to dump yourself out in Nevada and California over there.
A lot of truck stops.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of witnesses.
No.
Especially in those days.
So if you're not familiar, per Wikipedia here, the I-70 killer is an unidentified American serial killer who is known to have killed 6 store clerks in the Midwest in the spring of when? 1992.
The same year that Robert was passed over by his family.
And in a fury, leaves New York City in a huff and travels committing to the vagabond lifestyle. And like I said, I-70 right here, you look at this map, boom, right down from New York, you cross over Philly, and then bang, hit Baltimore, and you're off to the West Coast, baby. His victims were young, petite women.
That fits Robert Durst's profile. Well, not his profile, but the profile of the girls he was into.
Yeah.
Although maybe because he did dress as a woman, too.
Guy was all over the place. Literally.
And he was petite.
He was very petite. So the spree begins April 8th, 1992. A Payless manager named Robin Fuldauer in Indianapolis was working alone when she was shot, having been murdered around 1:30 p.m.
At the store.
Mm-hmm. Her body was found 90 minutes later, and it was found that money had been stolen from the cash register.
See, that's just awful. A rich serial killer also stealing money. He doesn't need it.
Yeah. What's interesting about Robin's shooting is that she was shot execution style, tapped in the back of the head.
Oh, my God. So that's the same as Susan Berman and Morris Black.
Yup. Just a few days later, April 11th, just going down I-70, there's a bridal shop in Wichita where Patricia Smith, who is 23, and the store owner, 32-year-old Patricia Maggers, 2 Patricias. The woman had stayed, unfortunately, past the normal closing time because there was a guy coming to pick up a cummerbund. And then this guy shows up, and both Patricias allow him in the store thinking that that's the guy who was picking it up. Both bodies were found after being shot. How? Execution style.
Both Patricias?
Mm-hmm. There was a customer in there that witnessed the person, and they said they noticed the person had a gun, and the killer told them to come back with him to the back of the store. The customer refused, and then the killer said, well, then get out of here.
Well, that was easy.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very lucky. The customer was so freaked out that they didn't even report it to the police until over an hour had passed.
Jesus.
So they could have easily just gone as fast as they could to a police officer somewhere sitting on the side of the road, anybody, anything. I understand cell phones weren't a thing, but...
Are you saying this was a coward?
I'm saying, yeah, this is another type of coward where this person had a gun saying they're going to kill people. They're leaving knowing there's 2 other women in the store. They're probably not going to fare well.
Yeah, it wasn't after the killing, so you're right. Yeah, he could have possibly saved them.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah, because we don't know how long he was torturing them or scaring them with the gun and what he was demanding of them, you know?
Yeah.
Just a few days later, April 27th, Michael McCown was working in his mother's Sylvia's ceramics store in Terre Haute, Indiana. It's interesting because Michael is the only male killed in there.
But we do know that Robert Durst killed at least one other male, Morris Black, so...
Yes.
That doesn't necessarily kill the theory.
No. It's believed by investigators that the I-70 killer chose this store because it was a woman's name in the title, Sylvia's Ceramics. So he's like, I'll just go and kill Sylvia.
Huh. Okay.
And they believe that McCown was killed. He was also killed execution style. And it was reported that he wore his hair in a ponytail. So Robert thought he was killing a woman.
Oh, wow.
Because he was shot from behind as he was kneeling to stock shelves. So he thought he got Sylvia.
Damn.
Ended up stealing his wallet and $50 from the store.
If that was his thing, then why didn't he just go shoot up a Wendy's?
Well, he wants to be smart about it. I mean, real serial killers, this is the thing.
Because of the woman's name.
They have a type, and they kill people they don't know. because that's the easiest way to get away with it. If you have any ties towards people, look, he had 3 people that he killed that he was immediately tied to. Because, duh, when you just kill a random person, it is creepily and so terrifyingly easy to get away with, especially in this time.
Yeah.
When it's the 90s, there's not as much video around. You're just going off of witness accounts that are very unreliable. You're a random person traveling I-70, boom, boom, boom. People aren't even putting these together because they're happening in different states.
Yeah.
They're not realizing, oh my God, this is the same shit, because murders happen in every city every day.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a while for this to become a working thing where people go, holy shit, this guy was going right across the highway and just murdering people. So there's a cool down period. Oh, actually, there's not. It's only just a few days. So just a few days later again, May 3rd, Nancy Kitzmiller was working alone at Boot Village, which is a boot shop, footwear shop in St. Charles, Missouri.
A lot of women's boots, I imagine.
Yep. She opened the store at noon and was found by customers deceased, shot in the back of the head at 2:30 p.m. She was supposed to be off that day, but she agreed to come in so that a coworker could have the day off.
Wow.
How fucked up is that?
That coworker has to...
They probably have unbelievable survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
Oof.
And the people that found her.
Yeah.
You're just going in to buy a pair of boots.
Mm-hmm.
And you find that.
Yeah. Money was stolen again from the cash register. So nobody heard the shot, which is crazy. He must have had some sort of silencer or something. But there was a woman that saw the final customer in the store just before her death. And this sighting was crucial for the police to make a drawing. On May 7th, it's the final murder that they concretely can tie to the I-70 killer. In Raytown, Missouri, Sarah Blessing was a 37-year-old who was working at a gift shop called Store of Many Colors. And he's doing this all pretty much, aside from one, they were all during the day. Just completely brazen. You got 1:30 p.m., 6 p.m. is the only one. And then it's daytime at 4 p.m. at Sylvia's Ceramics, 2:30 p.m. in Boot Village. And then this one is also during the day. It's just like he's so brazen. The video store owner next door to the gift shop there said he heard a pop and the person leave. Someone at the grocery store nearby also saw the person. So they saw him running away and climbing up a hill towards I-70. So they think that he parked on the side of the road, came over this hill and saw this little village and thought, I'm going to go kill a person, a woman at that gift shop, because why would a man be working there?
And by this point, he's on a roll. He's thinking in his head.
Oh, absolutely.
He's in the zone. Like, he just...
Like AutoZone.
Right.
Bum, bum, bum.
It's addicting to him.
Yeah, it's awful. But since there were so many accounts of the killer, I believe there was 4 witnesses along these 6 different murders.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you some.
Okay.
Okay, so we get a sketch here of the I-70 killer. Witnesses said that it was a skinny white male, short in stature, with a reddish hue to their hair.
That's Robert Durst. That looks like Robert Durst.
Does this look like a man? Skinny, short in stature, with a reddish hue to their hair.
I don't know about hue, but I really think that's Robert Durst. Case closed.
I really fucking think that the I-70 killer is Robert Durst.
You really have me believing it now.
1992 is the year that he gets passed over by his dad. He is furious. He lives a vagabond lifestyle, goes from New York City down to Baltimore, and goes across the country killing people.
Unlimited resources, really.
Absolutely.
And we know that he's killed people.
Yeah. He's killed multiple people that we definitely know about. And if you're a true serial killer, you kill because you need to kill. I mean, those other ones were crimes of opportunity, or
maybe passion too.
Passion. They were more measured because they had dirt on him. So they needed to go. They were liabilities. I mean, his first wife, he didn't want to give up any of his money. She was asking for $250,000 just to go away. He said no. And all of a sudden she shows up missing after telling everyone at a party the last night she was seen alive, if anything happens to me, look into Bobby. He did something.
Which is also who else said that in this episode in your conspiracy corner?
Hastings.
Hastings said the same thing.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, as well, there's another sketch that came up in the disappearance of Kristen Modafferi. They produced a sketch of the last person she was seen talking to before she disappeared. And let's take a look at that.
Wow.
It is Robert Durst.
It looks exactly like him.
It is completely exact.
A little exaggerated, but nothing major. Like he has a big schnoz in the sketch.
Yeah. They might as well have used a picture
right.
of Robert Durst.
The side-by-side is very compelling.
Extremely. I think we have a case of a guy who got away with so much more than he thought anyone would ever find out. To be a serial killer, you need more than 3 bodies, but you also need cooling off periods. And so we have major cooling off periods between 1971 to 2003.
You don't need cooling off periods.
Well, that's what the FBI says.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. So if you killed 20 people in 3 months and that was it?
It's what we call a spree killer.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm learning something.
The definition of a spree murder is 2 or more murders committed by a person with no cooling off period, in contrast to serial killers where there is a period of time between killings.
I didn't know this cooling off was so essential.
Yeah, in nuclear power and serial killings.
And in my apartment.
Hello!
In the valley.
Hey!
In June.
We need a cooling off period in here.
Gotta crank up that AC.
Yeah. Yeah, so the fact that they're all women, and there was one male because he thought it was a woman with a ponytail, thought he was really getting Miss Sylvia of Sylvia's Ceramics, and ended up, poor guy.
And maybe that person identified as a woman.
We don't know. We can't speak to that. But yeah, it is very much his calling card. People being shot in the back of the head who happen to be young women. Morris Black is the only one that was a man that he knew was a man. But he was dressed as a woman.
Yes. Durst was.
Durst, yes.
So you're saying that if not killing a woman, then he must be dressed as a woman.
Yes. I mean, that's what he was doing. He was dressed as a woman playing a homeless person when Kristen Modafferi went missing. And poor girl was volunteering at the homeless shelter he was at and was never seen again. So yeah, you got all the way from 1971, someone who came into his store.
That's the first one that we know of.
Yes, that was before Kathy, because Kathy was 1982.
And that totally fits the serial killer cooling off period I just learned about.
Yeah.
Because Jeffrey Dahmer killed a hitchhiker a decade before his spree.
Yeah. It's just they have a compulsion to want to end people's lives. And they usually, I mean, with the suicide of his mother so early in life, that can cause, very traumatic things to happen to someone's brain, and he might have just had that urge to want to kill his mom over and over and relive.
To kill his mom?
Yeah.
What about this? What if he killed his mom?
I have thought about that as well. Like he went up on the roof and she went to chase him and he threw her off and went back down. That would be the scariest 7-year-old child of all time.
Would you put it past Robert Durst to be that child?
At this point, absolutely not. But I believe, without a shadow of a doubt, we have proven here today that Robert Durst is the I-70 killer.
It's definitely credible, this theory.
Yeah, the incredible edible theory.
We're just gobbling it up.
What say you, Deado Universe? Do you believe it? We'll post the composite sketches on our Instagram if you guys want to check those out so you can see what we're talking about if you're only listening on Spotify and iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, because it's very interesting to see the side-by-sides with his composite sketch that is tied to Kristen's disappearance and then the other one that's tied to the I-70 killer, because I think it's pretty darn close.
It sure is.
Yeah.
And speaking of close, we are very close to
final thoughts.
So let's go all the way back to Violet Jessop.
Yes. I was having a wee bit of fun. I think it's fun to think about if she was the person behind all of those terrible things that happened, but I don't really believe that she was an agent of pre-Nazi Germany in Argentina before they were confirmed to go there en masse.
But wouldn't it be delicious if that were the case?
Wouldn't it be if we, blew the lid off of this case and we were able to find out that maybe it wasn't an iceberg, it was an ice-cold killer.
Whoa.
In the form of a woman from Argentina that sunk the Titanic that day.
So that theory is sunk.
Yes. The theory I made up, I don't necessarily believe it. I think it's fun to think about. But I don't think she actually did it. It is insane, though, that she really couldn't stand being married for 1 year, but could jump on a boat with no problem whatsoever after seeing 3 of the most horrific boat sinkings in human history.
And divorce wasn't as easy back then.
No, it was very difficult.
That took a lot of effort to get that divorce after a year.
And women who get divorced were looked at very unfavorably.
Yeah.
Even up until, the 60s and 70s in America. My Nana, we found after she passed away that there were letters from my mom's aunts and uncles to the Catholic Church begging them to allow her to get married for the second time because her first husband was a piece of shit, gangster wannabe, beat the crap out of her all the time, beat the kids, was a drunk loser, getting into fights, arrested all the time. And so she wanted to get divorced, and then the Catholic Church said, you'll never be able to get married again because you're a divorced woman. He could get married if he wanted to, but it was very sad to read those letters that, they're appealing to the church to forgive her for the sin of divorcing this piece of shit.
That is the very definition of misogyny.
Yes. So for her to do that back then is absolutely insane.
And so now we'll take a boat over to the next theory we went over, which was actress Anne Heche, who dated Ellen, your favorite talk show host.
Piece of garbage.
In the 1990s, and she also had a hot career going with the movie Volcano.
Yes.
No pun intended.
Right.
But
hot.
Her career was smoking.
Hot as lava.
And then she stopped seeing Ellen, went a little crazy. Her book was called Call Me Crazy. She called herself crazy because that's what the media called her.
Yes.
But really, she was going through a lot of trauma from her childhood and dealing with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then she became just a working actress in Hollywood.
Right.
A really good working actress.
Yeah.
And nobody really thought about her that much until suddenly that day she was driving her car all over the city and crashed it.
Yeah.
So, was that remote controlled?
I'm going to go ahead and say no because it's her. But it's also very curious that she had no drugs, no alcohol in her system. When it's very much documented, those were things that she liked to do. She was driving erratically. People were telling her to stop. She almost ran someone over and then boom, goes flying down this side street into the front of a house and can't survive it. Had it been for bigger circumstances, like if she was actually working on a documentary that exposed Jeffrey Epstein and the upper echelons of the American government when they were all alive and committing these crimes, yes, it's certainly possible. I think the Michael Hastings thing, it's certainly possible that his car was hacked and killed because he was getting too close to a number of things. But as far as Anne Heche is concerned, I say no.
And the reason I sort of went over her career really quickly just now is to make that point.
Yeah.
That she really wasn't that super famous anymore.
Right.
At the time of her death. So she really wasn't that big of an influencer.
Mm-hmm.
So why would the government be targeting her?
Yeah, exactly. What is there to gain? If you can tell me, anybody at home, if you can send us an email or a comment that explains what they would have to gain by taking out Anne Heche, I'm listening. I love a good conspiracy theory, but it has to make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that brings us to Robert Durst.
I think we have definitively proven here today that Robert Durst was absolutely a serial killer and not just someone who killed to protect himself. I think he did kill to protect himself, but also killed in the middle of nowhere for no reason whatsoever while he was in a fit of rage, for being passed up to be the heir of his daddy's fortune, but also just being a sicko out in Vermont, killing a child and then going out to California and killing another child. He's just a monster of a person. And I think there is some weird tie and there's something going on. There's some sort of mommy issue happening.
And he got off on power And he used his money to not only buy friends, but to get away with heinous crimes. And there was a point where all his friends were afraid of him, I think.
Yeah. Everybody wanted to be his friend, I think, because he had a lot of money and they were hoping to get some of it, but also absolutely terrified of what he might do to them with, their even minute knowledge of something that could have happened.
Like the juror he befriended after his trial for the murder of Morris Black.
Yeah.
He was acquitted and he became friends with one of the jurors.
That was more, I think, the jurors want. Like, he wanted to be connected to this guy. Like, he wanted some status. He wanted to be like, hey, I helped you get away with it.
And meanwhile, his best friend, Nick Chavin, his second best friend only to Susan Berman.
Yeah.
Nick Chavin was afraid of this guy.
Absolutely.
We'll return to Robert Durst another time, but
after the Jinx season 2.
Yeah, in season 2, it's revealed that Nick Chavin actually turned on Robert Durst.
May have. We don't know yet.
I think he did.
We don't know yet. Yeah, so I think it's proven. I think the first 2 theories are a no-go, but I think the last theory is solid.
Wow.
Very solid.
Okay, well... 1 out of 3 ain't bad.
Hey. And we have unlimited amounts of these type of stories. So if you want to see another Kyle's Conspiracy Corner, you just let us know and what stories you want us to cover, and we will do that for you.
So how does it feel? How do you think your first Conspiracy Corner went?
I don't know if I should be debunking my own theories that I make up at the beginning, but we'll see how it goes over. If people really want to believe that she was a German asset that was blowing up ship after ship, more power to you.
Yeah. Well, I was entertained and I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly, and that's all we can hope for.
Do you hear that?
You've got mail.
Oh, goodness. Okay, we got mail here. We got a very, very nice review on iTunes. Actually, we got 2. Robati, Dottie Robati, it's just Robati, wrote, one of the best, 5 stars. This is one of the best true crime podcasts out there. I just discovered this last month and have been binging all the episodes. I am impressed. This podcast gets the balance just right. I've laughed. Those Al Pacino impressions, ooh, get me every time. And I've cried with the Judith Barcy episode.
Oh.
The hosts have a great chemistry, and this is one of the funniest podcasts out there. Keep up the good work and highly recommend. Thank you very much, Robati.
That was very sweet.
Very kind. Too kind, almost.
No, not too kind.
No, not too.
I'll take it.
Yeah, for sure. Parker George, also on iTunes, gave us a 5-star review saying, fun to binge listen. Excellent show overall. Great stories, well-researched. Comedy is dark but hilarious. Makes my day at work go smoothly. I'm a mail carrier, so of course my customers talk to me when the most gruesome part of the story is happening. Highly recommend this show. If you like the macabre and have a sense of humor, this is it. Can't wait for the gang to start solving mysteries and getting blamed by a creepy old man in a mask for ruining his plans. Too bad Robert Durst is dead, because that could have been him. Thanks to Mr. Ben Kissel for putting this show on the map for me. And we have to thank Ben as well, because he has been kind enough to do the show a few times with us, and we have him scheduled for episodes coming up very soon.
Yeah, that was a very nice review. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Seems like some people like us.
Hey, a couple.
I'm humble.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. So I guess that's all the homework here. We have some Patreons coming up, so thank you to everyone who stuck with us through the crazy month of April. We have so much coming in the month of May that we are very happy to share with everyone. So get over there to patreon.com/deathandentertainment, and you will be blown back with all of the new stuff coming out this month.
It helps us keep that lamp from 1950 in Kyle's conspiracy office turned on.
Yes, it keeps the fedora budget going. So with all that, make sure you come see us next week. And until then,
don't go dying on us.
Bye-bye.
You have just heard
a true Hollywood murder mystery.
I have never seen anything like this before.
The movies, Broadway, music, television, all of it.
A place that manufactures
nightmares.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap.
Good night. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon.